Takes you to a page to hit.
Table, because you know I bring lots of stuff with me. That's right. Being back in person, and I was wondering if you were gonna have.
Some
2022 meeting of the City of Charleston's Design Review Board. My name is Erica Chase. And the members of the board with us tonight are Stephanie Tillerson, Aaron Stevens, Lucas Boyd, Dino Sciolio, and Ben Whiter. Members of city staff with us is David Meek. Give an introduction for any new projects, and then the applicant team project presentation. If any team needs time beyond 10 minutes, please let me know. Start your presentation. Nor did we receive any emails or letters.
You no longer have to register. Show up to speak. From
Okay,
now on, so,
got it.
no. Anybody here to?
David will then give staff recommendations, and then the applicant team may respond or clarify to public comments or city staff comments. We will then enter into board discussion and motion and votes. During that time, the applicant team may only speak if acknowledged by myself or one of the board members, or to clarify anything being stated that is inaccurate. We could silence or turn off all cell phones or any other devices that would make noise. We have no public comments, so I'll continue to skip over that. With agenda item number 1, 2744, Maybank Highway requesting approval for completed mock-up panel.
I'd say that's I don't know.
Details.
David, any questions from the board? David, staff recommendations, please.
Materials and craftsmanship. There were So it's hard to see.
David, applicant team, have any?
$600 Charleston, 2041. Flexibility last week, the meeting was, it was particularly bad weather. Thank you all for your responsiveness and flexibility. There's a light color, does it matter which one of the lights?
Board discussion.
I didn't think you were going to be here 21 minutes, but if you could go back to the image, David, for a moment on the penetration.
The
Prior vent penetration that had the minimal trim around it. Right.
may not have zoomed
You
in.
know which one that
Might
one?
not have provided that close up of the
There you go. That's
That's
the
it
one
right there. Above the door.
I don't know how you guys felt. This was just more of a subjective position, but it just seemed to minimize the visual of this projection as opposed to putting a 2-inch around it. And if possible, I would really encourage that that we go with all penetrations through the walls in that manner.
Any thoughts on the white? Which one?
There was one that was slightly warmer. I forget which is which. It was on the base trim, and the main body was the.
That was why I didn't suggest which way, because I wasn't sure which.
Was it the base or the upper one? Which one were you thinking?
and I can't tell in the photographs, but there was one that was,
Ibis or elder.
This is the base.
in my. We'd also discussed just tightening up the joints in the trim and also cleaning up that kick out flashing. Those were the only other. Cleaning up the kick out flashing detail, it was just not eliminating it or anything, but
Roof.
yeah, it was up.
I'd like to make a motion for final approval. Mock-up pen. Number 3 clarified as armor white, ibis white. Cleaner the miter joint, clean miter joints, pay attention to the miter joints. And to
Thank you. We have a motion for,
oh yeah, sorry. The minimum trim around the dryer, around all penetrations.
As shown on the dryer.
and then clean up the miter joints. 2, clean up the kick out flap. 3, use the minimum trim around all penetrations as Ashley? Aaron?
Yes.
Yes. And I am also yes in favor. Thank you very much. On the agenda is agenda item number 2, 2508 Ashley River Road, requesting demolition for a 1-story church school building over 50 years of age.
In such an office, I'm John Clendaniel. I'm the principal and CEO of Orange Grove Charter School, Sarasota. Part of this project, but our big idea is just to do a simple demo of currently in a swing space, a temporary. That for a few more years. This is just looking forward as a just in case with the possibility of an athletic facility. Building's a derelict building at this point. We've had some vandalism. Kind of clean up that property.
Early survey that was done when we were
Building being requested for demo has been used there. The applicant staff was not unable to find. In front of the U-shaped building, it's looking at church structure. Location.
Know that I was just going to simply share that I know that the litmus test for us in the past has always been the architectural fabric, contextual relationship, and historical context that a building may have. And in this regard, I don't think this building possesses any of that. So I will gladly move for a motion for demolition.
Start building.
Tina, is there a second? Any further discussion? Now call roll. Ashley?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes, in favor.
Lucas? Ben? I'm also in favor. West 1569 Harborview Road.
the gas station and us.
Hidden Street, Mount Pleasant.
Place, there's 2 classrooms. Visible from Harborview Road. Not part of the residential fabric at all. Gas station and the new and more modern addition.
Curious, the building cannot be seen from the road. Are we under the same jurisdiction of BAR?
No, we,
It's the same question.
Okay.
I
So
said,
we-
David.
Because it's at 50 years of age, that's why we're looking.
we're DRB review around all 4 sides of all the buildings that we review.
Okay.
Unlike BAR, that's curvy.
That, like with the BAR vegetation, I think doesn't necessarily count as a screening element because it can, I know, but it doesn't really matter visibility here because.
Well, that same role, especially. Right, I did say this was an attractive
Yes.
building. Classroom building. The applicants are. The addition is under 3,000 square feet, so will be reviewed by our staff level. The design review board states that the board should consider architectural study.
Want to or clarify, I assume that, okay.
Other than-
I'll make them.
Go ahead.
I didn't want to.
Review of the DRB architect, but I do not see any architectural or aesthetic significance of the using it right now as a classroom or was a classroom. So I would recommend that we approve staff's recommendation, which is to demolish the small brick classroom building to make way for building.
Thank you, Stephanie. We have a motion for approval. Any further discussion? With none, Ashley? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ben?
Yes, in favor.
Same, yes, in favor. We're going too far with number 4 on the agenda next. Maybank Highway, Crown Commons Way, requesting conceptual approval for a new one-story retail building at Logic Square.
Building of the same. So, massing wise, we're sharing the product, have variation. Is mixed in to create kind of visual of a this case, we're doing a double pitch, so there's more in the well. And that's it. For conceptual group.
Board?
Finish one.
Doing this again because they're just now constructing.
So the master,
I was just gonna say, I think
Altman was project architect. I kind of pictured them being one of the purchased cupolas.
Any other questions? David, staff comments, please.
Scale mass is appropriate, it fits in the piece.
I respond to? Or discussion or a motion?
It's the treatment of the awnings, the canopies on the Baybank side and the parking lot side. North elevation and south elevation. So on the south elevation, you've got sort of a horizontal awning. And on the back, you've got brackets with a slope shed. I would just remain consistent and pick one. Personally, I think the horizontal awning fits the architecture better.
And I'm looking at 17.
Wide.
For the
Yes.
elevation.
It's better. It's a horizontal, pretty simple canopy. And if you go to the south elevation or the north elevation, so those are brackets. If you see from the side, if you look at the east or west, you can see it's kind of, there you go. So you see the difference in canopy? Yeah. I think you got the same architectural style everywhere else, and these different. Personally, I think the horizontal fits this architecture better.
Policy that we've been following. I mean, this is, if you haven't been out to this addition to the Johns Island property, and it's well thought out. And it's almost just the simplicity of the structure itself with the loss of the cupola. But now looking at this elevation, is the cupola a component of terminating that gable on the front, or can the gable be lowered to meet the ridge line of this gable that we're looking at on this elevation?
Looks like they're in line.
Yeah.
That was one of them. It goes right into one of my main realize that it's a mix of gable roofs and flat roofs, and there's technical considerations here, but it's kind of a nice diagram of 4 gabled volumes. This elevation, it's all lost because the parapet doesn't gable, which I know is an impossibility with ceiling heights and everything. But when you look at this elevation, you really want that gable to extend to the back, right? Just to complete that diagram to make for a tricky roof plan for sure. But
Parapet high to match the ridge line of
I
the,
think what you're trying.
I don't have a specific suggestion. It was just
that regulating line is, seems like it's carried through the whole thing. Yeah.
I agree. It looks like forward heavy almost, with, you know, like it would fall forward.
you can see like in the roof plan, it's a nice
Yeah. I agree.
like hashtag.
There's a simple statement and it looks like it is. Basically, Lucas, what you're suggesting is if this gable were carried all the way across.
That would be ideal, but the roof plan would get pretty complicated there because you're creating a valley with no opportunities for the scuppers or the slot drain. So it's almost like the whole roof would have to come up.
Gotta have the ladder for access to mechanical equipment, unless you do it from the inside, which doesn't want to do.
Right.
Basically, what if you just brought that gable through each one of these here and then here as well.
That would help, yeah.
That might, just as a suggestion.
Just as a piece,
Yeah, just
flip
as a piece. So
mirror it
there's-
back on the, yeah, I'd buy that. How it would interact with that parapet, since that parapet's, see how to look at it. I'm not sure if that's side. Have a crazy kind of crazy condition there.
What if it were just added to the?
So it's two little
That looks like
cruciforms.
the
I
building
think.
actually sticks out a little bit.
Be on the edge of that gable, yeah.
That side as well.
Place.
Study it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to keep going, let's keep going for 2 more
I
hours.
got another hour and a half. guys.
Let's charrette, Charles.
These aren't good. Much paper with you.
Yeah, where's your bum on?
I'm trying to get out of cooking.
I was just
Any
thinking,
other comments? Go ahead, Lucas.
well, I think the awning, the canopy comment is really useful because I just think in general, adjacent buildings have some pretty nice contemporary features, so maybe to riff on that a little bit and then, yeah.
Promotion?
For y'all's benefit, for the benefit of the applicant, considering the extent of comments that we've made, I'm wondering if, is asking the board if it would be better for their sake, instead of going forward at this point with a preliminary submission without a design that's been approved, that we defer the application at this point with our suggestions and ask the applicant to come back.
I was looking really good.
Recommendation with ours and then.
I think give them the opportunity if they have to. Meeting, you know, maybe they come back with a great plan and like it, but.
We need to give the applicant some guidance there as to what the board is thinking. Do suggest that it be mirrored on the other side? Do we? How far do we feel that it needs to go?
You just say a learner, but I'm working on it.
Because I think I would be comfortable with that too, because I think, and while it's nice to provide guidance, I think there's several ways that it could be solved and maybe see what they can come back with. I don't know if that's too vague, but I mean, I guess we could ask the applicant if he understands what we're looking for, or if we need to give more direct suggestions.
I don't like this one-sided dimensionality, this is stage front dimension of facing Maybank, and make it more part of the whole, is what you're really saying, what I'm hearing you say. And so that's what we'd be studying.
That a motion?
Into a motion, right? Motion that staff's and 3, in addition to that board's comment, the horizontal, and then
Translates through would be fine, if, as long as there's a functional use of the.
If there's a window.
How should I word the roof comment?
Thinking primarily on the east and west. The roof line such that it reinforces the.
Yeah, I don't think it is, and I think it was clearly understood by the applicant. To restudy the use of the cupola. 3, restudy the roof line such that it reinforces the overall massing.
General encouragement for contemporary detailing.
On the
Throughout preliminary, they're going to be getting into a little bit of. temporary direction for the detailing. Temporary direction of the detailing moving forward.
As we have a motion for conceptual approval. Any further discussion? Only thing I'll add to note number 4. That as long as it's consistent with the remainder of the master plan and existing buildings.
Well, from the other buildings.
That was kind of the motivation for it, right?
Discussion? No, call roll. Ashley?
Yes.
Erin?
Yes, in favor.
Lucas?
Last all the time.
Until it's 7:30 when it comes
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Is there a
Yes.
second? Dinos?
Yes.
I'll call roll. Stephanie?
Yes, favor?
Erin?
Yes, in favor.
Lucas? Ben?
Yes, in favor.
Yes, in favor.
That had to be record time for,
I know.
for a, yeah.
How is that a